Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast.
One of our favorite things to do is take the podcast and take this time to dig in deeper, a little bit deeper into the things that you send us. We welcome your communication all the time. We like connecting with you on social media, and you can email us and call, of course. So this is an email, and I think a lot of families can relate. It's from Laura, and it says, "Hey, I love the show.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Sam and Murphy, for your honesty about alcoholism. I grew up in an alcoholic home and married an alcoholic. As a kid, I did feel like I missed out on some times with my dad because he was at home drinking. Unfortunately, he passed away before I could spend time with him as an adult. I do forgive him because alcoholism is a disease, and I know he did not mean his actions. However, I do wonder how much I missed out on my own children because of my interaction with my alcoholic husband. Even though I spent as much time with them as I could, I often wonder if my obsession with my alcoholic took away from them. I'm very active in Al-Anon and adult children of alcoholics, and it has changed my life with my children and everyone else I come into contact with daily.
That's good.
Just a reminder, your kids and family love you. The past cannot be changed, but we can build healthier relationships from this day forward. More than ever, we know just how precious our time is with our loved ones. Asking for forgiveness is a step we can take to heal. If they choose not to accept it, that is okay. It will help us heal because we know we've made an effort to make amends to the ones we hurt, and we've admitted our wrongs. Forgiveness is just as much for us as it is for them. Sorry this is so long. Don't be sorry it's long. Right. So proud of you both, and have a great day." That's from Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks,
Thank you
Laura.
for sharing that. The thing is, sharing that is also part of that healing process for her.
Correct.
And probably for everybody around her. So it's really good that she shared that. And guilt is a bad thing because it is a weight that can just linger if it's not addressed.
I think a lot of people carry a guilt for their lives.
Yeah, and the part of 12-step is the making amends and letting go of those things because you have to. You don't accomplish anything for the future by holding on to your guilt from the past, especially if you've made meaningful change in your life.
And what she's saying is, even if you do your part and you make amends, it may not land. They may not be ready to accept it, but that's okay. You still have to do it for you and in their own time. You cannot control the outcome. You just can control what you can do, which is beautiful. And I will say this, as someone, I've been around alcoholism my whole life and addiction my whole life. I feel very lucky to have been, I don't know what you call it. Spared. Right. I feel very, very lucky. But it really does. What she's saying speaks 100 million truths because it does affect everyone. When you grow up and you love someone who has an addiction, you're involved. You just don't realize it. When I was a little girl, when you're involved with someone who has an addiction and you think you can love them through it, you think you can love them enough and you can talk to them enough and you can help, and you have to realize how powerless you are too. It affects everybody. It took me a long time to go, I love you, but I have to do it from a distance because you're choosing certain things that I don't want for you.
Yeah.
It affects everybody, Laura. So thank you for that email.
Murphy, you were talking about guilt there, and this is what's really funny. It's the dichotomy, the walking dichotomy that is Sam. I'm a very intelligent person.
Yes,
I
you
know
are.
better. I know to let go of it, but I don't know if I ever will. I mean, it's like I've moved on. Obviously, I haven't had a drink. It'll be 8 years in September.
That's awesome.
And I've moved forward with creating new sober memories or normal memories with the kids and doing stuff. But it's like I still got that file cabinet in the back of my head of pictures that pop up every now and then that remind me, or things or situations. And it's like robbing the time that I had with my kids. It's over.
You have trouble forgiving yourself for that.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, 8 years, that would have put the twins at 17, Jackson at 19. And by then they're out of their teen. It's
Yeah. But the thing is, you made the change, and they've been able to experience the sober version of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, that's the thing about history. It's a tricky thing. History is a very dark thing. Our memories can be very dark.
Yes.
But we can't change what happened.
No.
And that's, I mean, we really can't. Every time you think about that, you're not going to be able to rearrange it in some way where it's okay. Mm-hmm. That's the reason you have to let go of it, because it truly is what it is. And I guess that, I don't want to say that I was lucky. My journey through all that was very, very different, because my dad was, throughout my entire high school career, part of my middle school career and my high school career, was drunk by the time I'd get home from school. Mm-hmm. He worked shift work at a refinery, and so little did we know at that time. Eventually, he was drinking at work. He was drinking all day. We didn't know, but excuse me. Even though you know it's not normal, you begin to accept something that you really shouldn't be accepting. And I think that's where the problem, comes along, because that acceptance becomes enabling, and that enabling never changes the situation. And even though it's the person with the addiction, they have to be the one to make the change and acknowledge, okay, I can't control this, which is the single biggest thing you can do. Once you acknowledge that part, you actually open the door. But, my dad, it took him getting dragged into a rehab center. But once he was done, he was dry. And the greatest memories of my dad, I mean, I have incredibly fond memories as a child, too. He didn't start drinking, like I said, until middle school. But he...
when you were in middle school.
I'm sorry, yes, when I was in middle school, yes. But I still have wonderful family memories of that time.
Yeah.
But my dad became a more connected person to us in those later years. And it was 30 years. And he until the day he passed, he said that there were things that he regretted. He regretted before he was drinking not doing things with us, and it's like we don't think twice about that. Yeah. He was always the funny one. He was always the the cool one that we enjoyed being around. But going through that, with my dad, for me, when it finally hit me, it kind of took a moment like that for me to go, okay, wait, I got to stop this. And I wasn't drinking throughout the day. I wasn't doing any of that. But what I was beginning to do was, excuse me, I was beginning to drink almost every night, right, Jodi? Mm-hmm. And it was something that I was beginning to look forward to.
Yeah.
And somehow the mixed blessing of the worst thing that ever happened to me, one of the worst things that ever happened to me, getting the DUI and understanding the danger of that situation, somehow God intervened, and I wasn't going to try to control that anymore. I had to make a change, and I think Jodi was even concerned at that point, would I actually make that change? Yeah. But so that regret, all that movie, the same thing you're talking about, still plays back, in my head, and it's taken me a while to, I don't want to say forgive myself for it, because I don't want to let go of that part, but maybe there's good in that pain because it keeps you on the track. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my head. I know it existed. I try not to let it affect my relationship now with kids or moving forward with anybody.
Right.
But it's like every now and then, you get one of those little brain snippets that,
sure,
remember this? Yeah.
That proves that you are alive and that you have a heart.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, especially for your family, especially for your children, but everybody lives with regret. And people who have addiction problems live with that regret and the regret of the actions and the time lost. But it is also, you're going to live with regret if you really live and you have people in your life, you have relationships. We all have regret. But another thing that maybe you don't see it this way is that your children they've seen you make this change. Mm-hmm. That's remarkable, because children are always watching you, whether they let you know that or not. Children are not nagging, going, well, my dad used to do this.
Yeah,
that's not what they focus on. If you probably have not talked to them about it, but
no, I have. And things have been brought up, like, when you used to this and you used to that, and to me, when I'm drinking, I'm getting away with it and I'm doing my thing, but they were noticing.
Yes.
They weren't pointing it out to me because it's dad,
sure.
But I can tell mom what dad's doing, which is fine. But they were noticing it, but I didn't know they were noticing it.
What I'm saying, though, to you is that they've noticed that you made the change, which is a really beautiful thing for a child to watch a parent take their own life into their own hands and make change, hard change.
Yeah.
Because they're paying attention to your actions more than your words.
I know.
That's all I'm saying.
I was very proud of my dad. I'm sure they're just as proud of you, honestly. Jody's right about that. And the other thing is, God forbid that gene get passed down, because it does in many cases. What I learned from my dad, honestly, what my dad went through, I think is part of the reason I understood I had to make a change. If I hadn't really had that experience around me and gone through his, rehab process and all of those things, I don't know that I would have been as connected or as understanding. I don't know that I would have escaped the enabling, I guess is what I'm saying,
Yeah, it's not a Pollyanna approach. I'm not saying it, you don't have regrets, and you do have regrets, and that's something that you have to learn to forgive yourself for. But they have what you've given them today. How many years did you say? 8 years?
Almost 8.
That's almost a decade of a sober dad.
Yeah.
So maybe you need to remember that. Maybe that needs to be filed and talking to you sometimes too.
Maybe it's the dad jokes I need to get rid of.
Thank you, Laura, for sending that beautiful, heartfelt, real life message. Send us anything, anytime. MurphySamandJody.com.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jody podcast.